is designated the king's son. 1 Chi 22. 26, 27. 2 Ch 18. 25, 26. This expression may refer to an offspring of King Ahab, or it could denote an official of royal descent or someone else closely connected with the royal household. 7. Shortened form of Jehoash, king of Judah and son of Ahaziah. 2 Chi 11. 2, 3, 21. Joash as in alternate spelling for Jehoash occurs many times in the Masoretic Hebrew text, as is pointed out in footnotes of the New World Translation. 2 Chi 12. 19. 1 Ch 3. 11. 2 Ch 24. 1, 2. See Jehoash number 1. 8. Shortened form of Jehoash, king of Israel, son of Jehoahaz and grandson of Jehu. 2 Chi 14. 1, 8, 9. This alternate spelling Joash often occurs in the Masoretic text. 2 Chi 13. 9, 12, 13. 2 Ch 25. 17, 18, 21. Ho 1. 1. Am 1. 1. See Jehoash no. 2. Job object of hostility. A man living in the land of Uz, in what is now Arabia. Job 1. 1 God said concerning Job. There is no one like him in the earth, a man blameless and upright, fearing God and turning aside from bad. Job 1. 8. This would indicate that Job lived in Uz at about the time that his distant cousins, the 12 tribes of Israel, were in slavery down in the land of Egypt. By then Joseph the son of Jacob Israel had died 1657 BCE after he had endured much unjust suffering, but had kept his blamelessness toward Jehovah God. Moses had not yet risen up as Jehovah's prophet to lead the 12 tribes of Israel out of Egyptian slavery. Between Joseph's death and the time when Moses by his conduct showed himself to be blameless and upright, there was no human with integrity like Job's. It was likely during this period that the conversations involving Job took place between Jehovah and Satan. Job 1. 6-12. 2. 1-7. Moses is generally credited with writing the account of Job's experiences. He could have known about Job when he spent 40 years in Midian and may have heard of Job's final outcome and death when Israel was near Uz toward the end of its wilderness journey. If Moses completed the book of Job about the time of Israel's entry into the Promised Land in 1473 BCE, probably not long after Job's death, this would place the time of Job's trial about 1613 BCE, for Job lived 140 years after his trial was over. Job 42. 16, 17. Job was a relative of Abraham, both being descendants of Shem. Though not an Israelite, Job was a worshipper of Jehovah. He was the greatest of all the Orientals, possessing great wealth. His family consisted of his wife, 7 sons, and 3 daughters. Job 1. 1-3. He conscientiously performed duties as a priest for his family, offering sacrifices to God in their behalf. Job 1. 4, 5. Job was a figure of importance in the gate of the city, even aged men and princes giving him respect. Job 29. 5-11. He sat as an impartial judge, executing justice as a champion of the widow, and was like a father to the fatherless boy, the afflicted, and those who had no help. Job 29. 12-17. He kept himself clean from immorality, greedy materialism, and idolatry, and he was generous to the poor and needy. Job 31. 9-28. Job's integrity. Job's integrity to Jehovah was challenged by Satan. Then Jehovah, with confidence in that integrity and knowing his own ability to recover and reward Job, permitted Satan to test Job's integrity to the limit, but he did not allow Satan to kill Job. Although Satan, through various means, took away first Job's livestock and servants and then his children. Job 1. 13-19. Job never charged God with folly or wrongdoing. Neither did he turn away from God, even when pressure was brought upon him by his own wife and by others. Job 1. 20-22. 2. 9, 10. He spoke the truth about God. Job 42. 8. He accepted O text to acute miritra longo. Job, Book of 82, originally written in Hebrew. The many similarities to the Pentateuch in the prose portion of the book tend to point to Moses as the writer. During his 40-year stay in Midian, Moses could have had access to the facts about Job's trial, and he likely learned of the outcome of Job's life when Israel came near Uz on the way to the Promised Land, in 1473 BCE arrangement. The Book of Job is unique in that it consists largely of a debate between a true servant of Jehovah God and three others who claimed to serve God, but were indoctrined in their attempts to correct Job. Job, they mistakenly thought, was being punished by God for some grievous hidden sin. Thus, arguing on this basis, they actually became Job's persecutors. Job 19. 1-5, 22 The debate consists of a series of 3 rounds of speeches, in which all 4 speakers participate, except that Zophar does not speak in the last round, having been silenced by Job's argument. Thereafter all are corrected by Jehovah's spokesman Elihu, and finally by God himself. It is clear, therefore, that one has to bear in mind when reading or quoting from the book that the arguments presented by Eliphaz, Bildad, and Zophar are erroneous. At times these 3 companions of Job state true facts, but in a setting and with an application that is wrong. Satan used this tactic against Jesus Christ when he took him along into the holy city, and he stationed him upon the battlement of the temple and said to him, "If you are a son of God, hurl yourself down. For it is written, He will give his angels a charge concerning you, and they will carry you on their hands, that you may at no time strike your foot against a stone." Jesus said to him, "Again it is written, you must not put Jehovah your God to the test." Mount 4. 5-7. The companions of Job said that God punishes the wicked. This is true. 2 Pe 2. 9 But they can keep account of Job's experiences when Satan challenged his integrity before Jehovah, likely recorded by Moses during Israel's wandering in the wilderness. Although the trial of Job must have occurred some years before Moses' birth, Job's prosperity and well-being, and when Jehovah grants Satan permission to test Job 1. 2. 10 Satan claims that Job's uprightness is motivated simply by self-interest. Job loses cattle, flocks, and his 10 children all in one day, but he keeps integrity. He is then afflicted with a loathsome, painful disease but refuses to curse God. Thus, Job remains faithful. Eliphaz, Bildad, and Zophar, 3 companions of Job, come together by appointment to sympathize with him too. 11. 3. 26 They sit around him in silence for 7 days. Job breaks the silence, cursing the day of his birth. He wonders why God allows him to go on living. The 3 so-called comforters debate at length with Job 4. 31. 40 They contend that he is suffering because of his sins, arguing that Job must be in the wrong since God is treating him as an enemy. They try to persuade Job of this by resorting to false reasoning and slander, and by appealing to tradition and visions they claim to have seen. The 3 companions urge Job to confess his wrongdoing and change his ways. Then, they say, he will regain his former prosperity. Job insists that he is upright. He does not understand why Jehovah allows him to suffer, but he silences the false counsel of his 3 companions in his final words. Job contrasts his former days as a respected elder with his present period of affliction and humiliation. He points out how careful he has been to avoid a sin. Elihu, a young bystander, corrects Job and his companions. 32. 37. 24 He shows that Job was in the wrong when he justified himself rather than God, and he upbraids Job's 3 companions for failing to answer Job correctly. Elihu upholds Jehovah's justice, impartiality, glory, and almightiness. O textui acute miritra longo. Job, Book of 83 concluded that all suffering a person undergoes is a result of sins on his part. That God is thereby administering punishment to him. Suffering, they said, is an evidence that an individual has specially sinned. They spoke untruthfully concerning God. Job 42. 7 They slandered him. As they presented God, he was lacking in mercy. Their claim was that God has no delight in the integrity-keeping man, and that he has no trust in his servants, even in angels. This denies the many scriptural statements revealing Jehovah's love for his intelligent servants. An example of God's confidence and trust in his faithful worshippers is seen in his conversations with Satan, in which he called attention to Job and expressed the greatest confidence in Job's loyalty when giving the devil permission to test Job. Note, however, that he protected Job's life. Job 2. 6 The Christian writer James says of God's dealings with Job, Jehovah is very tender in affection and merciful. Jos 5. 11. Amportance. The Book of Job is essential, in conjunction with Genesis 3. 1-6 and other scriptures, in revealing the great issue of the righteousness of God and his exercise of sovereignty as well as the manner in which the integrity of God's earthly servants is involved in the issue. This issue Job did not understand, but he, nevertheless, did not allow his three companions to make him doubt that he has been a man of integrity. Job 27. 5. He did not understand why his calamity came upon him, since he was no practitioner of sin. He was off balance on the matter of self-justification, no doubt being pushed farther in that direction by the constant charges of his three companions. He was also mistaken in insisting on receiving an answer from God as to why he was suffering, when he should have realized that no one can rightly say to Jehovah, "Why did you make me this way?" Row 9. 20. Nevertheless, Jehovah mercifully answered Job, both through his servant Elihu and by speaking to Job from the windstorm. The Book of Job. Point of comparison. Other Bible references. 3. 17-19. The dead know not anything, but are as those asleep. EC 9. 5, 10. Job 11. 11-14. 1 Cor 15. 20, 10. For God does not judge from man's viewpoint. 1 Cor 16. 7, 10. 8, 9, 11, 12. God's great care in forming man. PS 139. 13-16, 12. 23. God lets the nations grow powerful and even unite against him so that he can justly destroy them at one stroke. Re 17. 13, 14, 17, 14. 1-5. Man is born in sin and in bondage to death. PS 51. 5. Row 5. 12, 14. 13-15. Resurrection of the dead. 1 Cor 15. 21-23, 17. 9. The righteous one is not stumbled, no matter what others do. PS 119. 165, 19. 25. Jehovah's purpose to redeem, repurchase, release faithful mankind. Row 3. 24. 1 Cor 1. 30-21. 23-26. All men subject to the same eventuality. All are the same in death. EC 9.